So welcome back to episode 7 of this prep for Sydney Knife Show. I've surface ground some steel for my blade now, and before I put it on the mill, there's one thing that I need to do. After surface grinding, the blade becomes magnetic, so I need to demagnetize it. I'm going to demagnetize it first, and then we'll get straight into cutting it out. This is my demagnetizer. The process would just be to take my surface ground steel and just pass it across. There we go. It should be non-magnetic now. Keep your credit cards away from this. I've got the steel set up the same way as I did for a lot of those other parts. The coordinate system is based off the center of the vise. Before I actually get stuck into the blade, I'm going to run a couple of little tests so that I can make sure that the tolerance for the pivot hole is going to be correct. So I've run that test hole. Everything's gone pretty well. So that hole fits. It's very tight. It's probably a bit tighter than what I would normally want for a pivot, but I think I'm going to leave it like that, and I'll use a barrel pivot lap and lap the inside surface after heat treatment so that it's nice and polished, and just open it up a tiny bit more. But that seemed to go pretty well. I'm going to take it off the machine and have a closer look. All right, so let's talk about today's efforts. I demagnetized the blade before I put it on the mill, so I didn't have chips sticking everywhere. Milled out the blade, the tang first, with all the critical parts of the tang so that I can test the mechanism, and then finished window machining it out. There was one thing that I couldn't do on the mill, which was drill the detent hole. The reason for that is I just didn't have any tool holders small enough to hold the drill bit. I've stamped the blade with my logo, and I've ground the edges so that there's no hard corner for when I grind the blade after heat treatment. So after getting the blade already, I've prepared a pouch for heat treatment. That will protect the blade from the high temperatures while it's in the oven, and it will give me another chance to try out my method of doing a nitrogen fill to keep a non-reactive atmosphere within the bag while I'm doing the heat treatment. So if you haven't seen that video, I'll put a link in here. So thanks for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this episode 7 where I've been concentrating on the blade. I'll be trying to heat treat that during the week so that next weekend I'll have plenty of time to put it all together and mill the handles. I look forward to seeing you at Sydney Knife Show, and keep following along as I progress with this prototype and start getting some knives ready for Sydney.